Budget update, let's go over it quickly. So I've got all the detail that you probably need to know associated with it if you are interested in money and investing and all that sort of good stuff. Let's start with ISAs. So first of all, cash ISAs are going to be changing, and they're going to be changing for a certain demographic, the young. So from now until April 2027, there will be no changes whatsoever. But after April 2027, if you're under the age of 65, you will now only be allowed to put up to £12,000 per year into your cash ISA. The total allowance has not changed. Okay, so the total £20,000 allowance is unchanged, but only if you are prepared to put £8,000 into a stocks and shares ISA. So you could put £12,000 into a cash ISA, £8,000 into a stocks and shares ISA. You could as well, of course, just put the total £20,000 into a stocks and shares ISA, which is exactly what I do. But this obviously has an impact on those that are not intolerant, but don't want to invest, don't have the risk appetite, don't necessarily have the knowledge in order to do it, or they want to put some money away for some short-term goals, for saving for a house, for example, and they don't want to pay tax on any of the interest that they receive. So you can now only put £12,000 per year in. Now I know that sounds like a lot, but like I say, if you're saving for a house, you could potentially go above that threshold very easily inside a year. Now, where there are no changes is for those that are over 65 years old. So if you're over 65, the threshold remains at £20,000 with any mix that you want. You can have £20,000 in cash, £20,000 in stocks and shares ISAs. And whilst I think this is a good idea, because it allows those that are a pension age to be able to take some money, 25%, for example, out of their private pension and put it into a cash ISA in order to, again, reduce the impact of any tax that they need to pay on any of the interest they receive. Don't forget, these guys have worked for decades. They've paid their fair share of income tax. I think that it should actually be at 57 years old, because that's when you're going to be able to actually access your private pension. So again, it's one of those things where they don't necessarily want you to be retiring much before state pension age. And it is, to be fair to them, 3 years before state pension age at 65, but I do think it should be at 57. Now, the other thing to bear in mind with ISAs is the last time that they went up was 2017. That's when they went up from 15,000 odd to 20,000 pounds, which was a big jump at the time, but it hasn't gone up since then. So there's been no increase as a result of the allowance that you're allowed to put into your stocks and shares ISA or cash ISA since 2017. That was 8 years ago. Now, in the last 8 years, inflation as a total level is at 34.4%, which means that if the allowance had kept up with inflation, you should now be allowed to put £26,900 into your cash and stocks and shares ISA. It hasn't gone up, and in fact, the cash proportion is going down. Now, Labour talk about the fact that they are trying to promote people to get into UK businesses and invest into the UK, but there's no allowance in there for in any way forcing, not that I would want them to, forcing people to invest into the UK. And most people will not be investing into UK businesses, because I don't even invest into UK businesses. The growth has not been as good as we can see elsewhere across the world and in the US. And as a result, what will most likely happen is instead people will, who are fortunate enough to be able to put more than £12,000 away into a cash ISA, they will put it into high interest accounts, which therefore means, depending upon their earnings, they're probably going to have to pay tax on the interest again on money that they've already paid income tax on. Now, I'm not getting away from the fact that I still think that we're incredibly grateful to have, lucky to have this product in the UK. It is, people across the world are very jealous about the fact that we do have it. So, double-edged sword at the end of the day, isn't it? But I do think that it's not been done necessarily the way that I would have hoped. The other update that's of significance is around the tax threshold, right? Okay, so that's going to be increasing from 2028 to 2031. Now, what this basically means is that the barrier by where that you start to pay higher income tax is 50,270 right now. It has been for a number of years, and that will not be changing for at least 6 years. Now, what that effectively means is that more and more people will fall into that threshold of above £50,000. Hundreds of thousands of people will go into that threshold just because their pay has gone up with inflation. So this is not them having more buying power. This is not them becoming lavish. Their pay goes up in line with inflation. They can afford to buy the same stuff that they could afford to buy last year. And now there'll be an entire tax bracket, meaning that everything that they earn above that will now get hit by 40% tax, which is bloody significant. That's a hell of a lot of money. Again, with going above £100,000, there's additional tax impacts as a result of that, with childcare and all sorts of different things, and none of that is changing either. Your pensions are changing as well. So from a salary sacrifice perspective, salary sacrifice is great. It means you can put money into your pension before you are paying any income tax on it. Now, what's going to happen going forward is that as soon as you get above putting more than £2,000 into your pension through salary sacrifice, you're going to have to start paying national insurance contributions. Now, it's not going to be massive. It's not going to be mind-blowingly thousands and thousands of pounds, but it will be an increase. So if you're on £40,000 and you're currently putting 5% into your pension, you are at the threshold. You're at £2,000. But if you put any more than that into your pension, you are now going to have to get hit by national insurance contributions. It basically means it's going to be more expensive to save for your retirement. Now, I already do think that we are facing into a bit of a pension crisis and there's some significant reform required, but we're not seeing it coming anytime soon. And whilst it might not appear that your tax is going up directly because there's no been an increase in income tax, actually in reality all these sort of things means that you are slightly worse off with all of these different things. The other thing to bear in mind is if you are a company owner, a director, and you take dividends out of your business, that's going to go up by 2%. Now, depending upon how much dividends you're taking out of your business, this could range anywhere from a few £100 to a few £1,000. So it is absolutely worth having a look at what the impact of that's going to be for you going forward. Now, obviously, there were a whole load of different updates as a result of this budget, but I just want to go over the main ones that affects those of us that are investors or business owners or those that earn a salary at the end of the day, and the biggest ones that have the impact on the majority of people's lives. Let me know what you think of these changes below. Some of you might think that some of them are a good idea, so I'd be interested to hear your thoughts.